When I was a kid, there was nothing quite like the next big video game release. The hype leading up to Halo 3. The drive to your local GameStop for Pokemon Pearl. The feeling of grabbing Black Ops 2 off of the shelf. And the smell of the video game manual for Twilight Princess as you read it 10 times over on your drive home. Nowadays, games don't have that same magic. It's all digital. And even when it isn't, what's that? The games don't have manuals anymore? Often, games feel like they've lost their magic, and I'm definitely not alone in feeling this way. The common consensus is that games just aren't as good as they used to be. I mean, how can you compete with timeless classics? Obviously, it's true, right? Right? Let's go back a bit. In the fall of 2006, a game released to critical acclaim. But my underdeveloped brain had no concept of critics, so that didn't affect me at all. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess had just released, and it was fantastic. The world felt vast and real. The gameplay was thoughtful and engaging. The atmosphere was eerie and immersive, the music was incredible, the boss fights were exciting. It was unlike anything I had ever played before. It felt like I was transported into this world, and I couldn't put it down. Hours slipped away, and when I plunged the Master Sword into Ganon's chest, I felt it. This was the greatest game ever made. I'm sure at some point you felt that exact feeling about a game, and honestly, I'm sure that you felt that a lot when you were a kid. For me, every year or two, there was a game that would come along and make me feel like I had just discovered the greatest game ever made. Super Monkey Ball 2, Super Mario 64, Halo 3, Black Ops 2, Pokemon Pearl, Garry's Mod, Minecraft, the list goes on. And now, I'm lucky if I get that feeling at all. What happened? Well, let me get my PowerPoint up and running. For starters, the video game industry has completely changed. I mean, the internet is a thing now. Game companies used to test their games to their limits to ensure absolute polish because games would stay that way forever. There were no day one patches. And even if game companies wanted to continue this standard, the scope of new games has increased tenfold. With huge, vast open worlds, there's just too much for a dev team to realistically test. Also, the number of games that are being produced every year has skyrocketed. Now, more than ever, the video game industry is a lucrative business. The pressure on developers is higher than ever, with budgets and expectations rising. Big company boys are poking and prodding game companies to hurry up and release that sequel. If it's broken, we can just issue an apology and fix it 3 months later. Money, money, money. So yes, generally large games are releasing in increasingly buggy states and are constantly unfinished and underdeveloped. But I'd like to introduce you to the other side of the coin, indie games. Indie games are also being produced at insane rates, and often many of them are polished and well made. They're passion projects made by developers who have no real expectations on their shoulders yet. There are thousands upon thousands of indie games made every year, and plenty of them are worth your time and money. And even on the AAA side of the coin, while there have been plenty of rushed, poorly made games, there are also tons of incredible masterpieces that have been made in the last decade. In fact, there are probably more masterpieces from the last decade than there were in any of the other decades combined. This might be a hot take, but video games are the best that they've ever been. So why doesn't it feel like that? Think back to those car rides from GameStop, or those late nights playing Black Ops 2 with the boys. The reason that games felt like they were better back then is, well, nostalgia. Now, I do think that in a few ways games were better in the past, but really it comes down to the novel experience that each new release gave you. Each game was unlike anything that came before it. When I played Super Mario 64, I hadn't played anything like it. The same can be said about Halo 3 or Minecraft. Games were constantly revealing what was even possible to me, especially when you look back at how constantly the technology was evolving and how much slower the games were being released. Games felt like they were always breaking barriers and paving the way for those to come after. Now with games releasing constantly, there aren't many times when games break barriers or set new trends. And I can compare any game today to every other game that's come before it. But hope is not lost. Not at all. Occasionally something comes along that makes me feel like a kid again. Breath of the Wild, God of War, Elden Ring. These games make me stand in awe at how immersive and groundbreaking they are. They prove to me that games haven't gotten worse. And this week is the release of the newest game in the series that started this video, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Nearly 6 years later, the magic is back, and I have hope that once again, I'll be playing the greatest game ever made. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I know it was something a little different, but I love video games. Video games have always been a part of my life, and this was a topic that really interests me. So you'll probably see me make a few more videos on video games from time to time, and I apologize for not uploading in the last week. I definitely wasn't like playing the new Legend of Zelda or anything. That would be irresponsible. Bye. I want to go play more Zelda.